Welcome back to Our Delicious, where we share our family's home cooked favorites with you. As fall approaches, I want to share a recipe with warm fall flavors, the cinnamon sweetness poke cake. It's fluffy, moist, and tastes like a cinnamon roll. An easy cake that is delicious. Let's get stirring. We're going to start off with 3 eggs that are at room temperature. With that, we're going to add 1.5 cups of sugar, and we're going to mix this on a medium speed for about 2 minutes. To this now, we're going to add 3/4 cup of melted butter, and 2/3 a cup of plain yogurt. Now this yogurt's been sitting out, so it's gotten to room temperature. It's got a little bit of liquid on top, and I'm going to pour that off. Now we are replacing the liquid in this recipe with yogurt. The yogurt is going to make our cake very moist, and the acidity in the yogurt will also help to activate our baking powder, giving us a fluffier cake. Okay, we're going to mix this up. Okay, now that is all mixed. We're going to put the mixer aside. We'll use that for the frosting, but for the rest of the recipe, we'll just be using a whisk. So now we've got to prepare our flour. What I have here is 2¼ cups of flour. We are using Swan's Down cake flour. You can use all-purpose flour as well. We just had this in the pantry, and so we're using it. We're going to also use 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of, let me get that here, of the salt. I'm kind of stuck in the bottom. And then of the baking powder, we are going to be using 1 teaspoon. So we'll add all of that in there. And I will post this recipe down in the description. I forgot that word.
What inspired you to want to make this cake?
Well, actually, I was watching another channel, Catherine's Plate, and she was making a lot of poke cakes, and I was like, oh, I have this cinnamon poke cake that I used to always make to take to work with me for one of our teammates' birthdays, because he liked cinnamon, and really the only cake that you can find in the store cinnamon are like cinnamon rolls or either your coffee cakes, and I really didn't think that either one of those were appropriate for a birthday. So that is what actually Catherine's Plate inspired me to share my poke cake with you guys.
Shout out to Catherine's Plate. Go check out her channel and subscribe. She's a very good cook.
Okay, so now I'm going to take the flour that I have mixed the baking soda and salt with, and I've stirred it all in. Now when you mix this, you're really going to do more of a fold. You don't want to overmix. Overmixing will cause your flour to start developing gluten, and that gluten will make your cake dense. So just do a light, you just want everything mixed in good and everything's wet.
We want a light and fluffy cake.
That's right, you don't want to overmix your cake. And that's with any cake that you do, you don't want to overmix it because that gluten in your flour, making a mess here. That gluten in your flour will start to develop and cause, I think it's called like gluten strands, but anyway, it makes your cake tough, dense. Not tough, but dense. A lot like I feel most of the time. So you do want to make sure that you don't see any of the flour that is not wet. So make sure that it's fully incorporated, but with an easy, you want to have an easy hand with it. So you see how I'm just kind of pushing down. I'm not actually giving it a good, like you would with the mixer. You just don't do that. Now we do like the gluten to form sometimes when we're making our pizza dough. Yummy stuff. Cook it out on the uni. Maybe Ron will do us one of those soon.
Stay tuned for some delicious New York style pizza. Put on the wood charcoal fired uni oven and cooked in less than 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Okay, so I have mixed my batter. And now I'm going to prepare my dish. I am using, give me 1 second please. I'm using a 8x11 dish. And I'm going to spray it in Pam. This is this is for baking, so it's got the flour in with it. Now, because we're doing a cake with cinnamon, I thought it would be good to dust the pan with cinnamon as well, so we're going to do that. And this is Ceylon cinnamon. You can use any cinnamon, of course, but our favorite is Ceylon. Am I pronouncing that right?
That's what I call Ceylon cinnamon.
Good time.
It's real cinnamon. It's not the cassia cinnamon. It's real cinnamon from Sri Lanka.
Okay, so that's done. I don't want to lose this cinnamon because I'm going to use it for something else a little later. So I'm just going to grab this paper towel if I can get it ripped off here. And just leave that sitting right there. Let's get this cake poured in. So what we're going to work on after we get our cake in the oven is we're going to work on the poke part of the cake. What we're going to pour in the pokes once it gets out.
That sure is a funny name for a cake. Poke.
And you can spread this in your bowl if you want to. I find that just shaking it will cause it to all level out. Or you can use the
Shake
spatula.
it up, baby.
Shake it up, baby. Okay, so I'm putting it in an oven that has been preheated to 350. And I am putting it on the middle rack. And we're going to cook this for 30 to 35 minutes. We're going to start off at 30 and we'll check it then. So now we're going to mix up the mixture that we're going to pour over the cake once we take it out of the oven and do our pokes in it. So for this, we're going to start off with a ½ cup of butter. And I am going to have to throw this in the microwave, and I hate it, guys, that I didn't already do this before I started this video. So the butter's melted. Now to our butter, we're going to add 1/3 cup of brown sugar. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And I am going to mix that around, excuse me 1 second. Okay, I wanted to give another small whisk. We're going to mix this around before I put in the last 2 ingredients, which is condensed milk and heavy whipping cream. But I want the brown sugar to dissolve some and the cinnamon to incorporate with that butter. See? Okay, so now we're going to put in the condensed milk. So we're using 2/3 a cup of condensed milk. Also, we'll use 2/3 a cup of heavy whipping cream. And this condensed milk, you could put this on a shoe and it would taste good. As much out of there as I can. Let me get my other little spatula. Because we don't want to leave any of that goodness in the bowl. And then our heavy whipping cream. Okay, we're going to incorporate all of this. Be ready to pour on that poke cake whenever we get it out of the oven. And we poke holes in it. How y'all like this bowl? It's older than I am, and I'm pretty old. This is a bowl that my grandmother used to cook in. So yes, it's one of my favorites. Her name was Ethel. I lived with her until I was in the 3rd grade. So a lot of my upbringing came from her. She was a Christian lady. We were in church every Sunday, every Wednesday, vacation Bible school, never missed it. But it was a really good upbringing. So that's it for right now. I'm going to give it a break, and then when our cake comes out, we'll put the pokes in it, and then we'll do the topping. So about 35 minutes has passed. Took a little bit longer than what we had anticipated. Look how golden it is. I can't talk. Okay, so now we're going to do our poke holes in it. So I'm just using one of my wood spoons. The top of it's so crunchy. I'm going to put a couple extra there because it looks like that I went a little bit further. So now we're going to need to pour topping on. I'm going to use a mixing cup to do this. It just makes it a lot easier. So when you pour this, you're going to want to pour it into the holes as much as you can. You can almost see how they're filling up for us. As you pour this, you get the feeling that you want to just go ahead and pour it all on there. But don't do it. I know I'm having that feeling myself right now. I'm kind of impatient. So we did that over all of our holes, and now we're just going to go back and fill it up. Just empty the rest of it on top of your cake. Okay. I'm just going to use the same spoon that I used to poke my holes, just to bring my liquid up from the sides a little and make sure that it's completely covered. Now this is going to have to completely cool before we put our frosting on it. Our cake is cooled, and now we're going to make the topping. So we're going to take 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And we're going to start whipping this up, and then we will be adding our powdered sugar. Got 2 tablespoons of this. Ooh, I don't want to do that. That'd make a mess. So you're going to whip this until it starts forming peaks. So what I did is I had added half of my powdered sugar, and then I added the other half. Now it hadn't started forming peaks yet, but I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla flavoring. It calls for about a teaspoon, and I'm just going to eye this. So this is about the consistency that you will want. See how it started forming peaks? It's getting a little bit stiff. So now we're going to frost it. We love frosting, so I probably should have doubled this. We like a lot of topping on ours. But I didn't want to stray from the recipe too much because not everybody is alike. And if you would like more, also you could double the recipe for the topping.
That looks like plenty. It looks yummy. I want to stick my finger in it.
You can take the bowl. Here you go.
I can't hold the bowl. I'll just set the phone down. I'll be back, peeps.
Well, you're going to be taste testing it in just a moment, okay?
Hell yeah. Get in my belly. That looks like plenty of frosting.
Not for me. I would have probably preferred a little more, but like I said, I didn't want to stray from my recipe too much.
Oh yeah, that looks yummy.
Yeah, see guys, why I thought that I should double it. I like a thicker topping on it, so you guys can do what you wish with that as well. So now I'm going to top it off with a little bit more cinnamon, and I'm just going to sprinkle it over the top. Now it's ready for a fork. That was good. So I already had pulled a plate out here because I knew what was coming up. So let's see what it looks like. I'm just loosening it from the sides a little bit so that I can hopefully get it out without much problem. And it looks like I am going to be able to get it out without much problem. Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Look how moist it looks. A lot of air pockets there.
Ooh, let me get a picture of that. Put that back up there. Turn it right there. Stop. That looks yummy.
So now the real test is, how does it taste? Because it can look pretty, but if it doesn't taste good. That was a perfect bite. I think I should let the cameraman have one as well.
Yeah, I'm feeling neglected over here. All this work I'm having to do. Oh my.
Okay, guys.
Wow.
That's it.
That is about the moistest cake. I'm wow. Good
Cinnamon,
job.
Sweetness poke cake. Hit the subscribe button. I think it's right here. Like it. Post some comments on good, bad, or indifferent. We are in the early stages on this channel, so there's a lot of hiccups throughout the process. And hit notifications. If nothing else, you can watch us for fun, but I hope that you are enjoying our recipes. So until next time, go stir a pot.